Hey everybody, it's Chase with AV Pop Culture again, and today we are here to continue our spooky season focused videos with Monster Mondays. Every single Monday, we are going to take a look at a different monster for the focus of our videos and our lists, and today we are starting at the top, or should I say the bottom, with the devil himself. So pop that tape in, I got you, let's go do this. All right, so Monster Mondays. That is going to try to be our focus here for spooky season. We're going to try to take a look at a different monster, a different creature every single Monday with a different list or movie review. And today I figured what better place to start than with movies that focus on the main man himself when it comes to evil, the icon of all things evil, the devil himself. And surprisingly, there's not really that many movies that focus on the Prince of Darkness himself. And considering horror, and he's the basis of horror, the icon, the embodiment of evil in horror, that's kind of surprising. But I do have a list of 15, my top favorite 15 movies that focus on Lucifer himself. And we're going to get to that list. But a little fun thing that we're doing for Monster Mondays is my wife, Risha, is getting a little monster snack focused in and theming to each one of our monsters. And today we have a little devil's food cake here. So we got some chocolate devil's food, chocolate icing, and of course, we got the tail, the horns. We have the devil himself, a little fun, sweet treat to top off our Monster Mondays here. What a villain, but delicious in chocolate. Now, I kind of wanted to keep this focused on horror movies, but I do have one very good and worthy honorable mention that's not a horror, and I'm talking about the film Bedazzled. I really enjoy this film. It's a comedy. It stars Brendan Fraser, and he makes a deal with the devil. He basically gets 3 wishes. I absolutely love the film. It kind of, though, it portrays, I like the message at the end that good, evil, it all comes down to you. It comes down to the person. It's not a horror film, but I definitely wanted to mention it. I do enjoy Bedazzled. I have one other honorable mention before we get started. One that I didn't put on the list because it's a little controversial whether or not this is actually about the devil. It's one that you're not going to think of until maybe I kind of spell this out for you. And I'm talking about 2002's Ghost Ship. This is that very early 2000s horror, and if you haven't seen it, Gabriel Byrne plays in this, and he owns like a salvage crew. He's a captain for a salvage crew, an ocean salvage crew, and they get recruited by this guy to go out and basically find this old cruise ship that's been gone for like 50, 60 years that just disappeared. And of course they're interested in going and, salvaging it because it could be worth millions of dollars. And this is actually produced, I did not realize this, that it is actually produced by Robert Zemeckis. But you've got Gabriel Byrne in here. You've got Isaiah Washington in here. Juliana Margulies is in here. How does the devil play into this? Well, if you haven't seen the movie, this whole thing is basically a devil's bargain. The ferryman is who recruits them out there. If you're not familiar with like ancient Greek mythology or whatever, the ferryman is the one who collected souls and took them over into Hades. And the ferryman in this has basically made a deal with the devil. He is a demon. essentially, and he has to spend eternity gathering souls. First, he has to mark them. He has to get them to sin and then die. That way they will go to hell, and then he collects their souls and takes them to hell. So ultimately, this is, if you think about it, about the devil and a devil's bargain. And so I thought I needed to put it on the list. If you think about it really deeply, which I do a lot of times, it will definitely get you there. Ghost ship. All right, coming in at 15, I have a kind of a tie because there's just one other film that I wanted to mention. And I am going to talk about the one that I have first, and that is Satan's Little Helper. And this is a cool box slip and everything. And this is not a great movie. It stars Catherine Winnick, who plays Lagertha in Vikings. This is like right before she did Vikings. What it is the boy in here is like obsessed with a video game, I think it was, that's called Satan's Little Helper. He wants to kill his stepfather. I think it's his stepfather. I've only seen this one time. He wants to kill him, and he dresses in this devil costume. He goes out on Halloween, and he runs into someone else who is just in a devil costume. Is he a serial killer? Is he a psycho in a devil costume? He never speaks. But the boy is essentially obsessed with the devil throughout this movie, and it is pretty sick and twisted. You could maybe call it a dark comedy, but I think it definitely is worth a mention, and definitely has some great cover art there. But the real one coming in at number 15 is one that I don't have, and that is 2010. I think it's 2010's Devil. I mean, plain and simple, it's right there in the title. This is written by M. Night Shyamalan. The whole thing takes place inside of an elevator, and one of the people in the elevator is the devil. And these people are basically going to be picked off one by one. They are sinners, they are unrepentant and everything, and you find out, and so does someone at the end, that the devil is in fact real. It's a very short movie. It's coming out right now for Scream Factory on 4K. You can actually pre-order it right now. It doesn't have a ton of rewatchability because once it's got that M. Night Shyamalan curse. Once you know everything, it can kind of take away from it just a little bit. But it is 100% about the devil. So it has to be on this list, coming in at number 15. Coming in at number 14 is another one that I don't have in my collection, believe it or not. And I am talking about the Richard Donner film, the classic, the 1976, The Omen. It stars Gregory Peck in this as Robert Thorne, and he is basically the father. You have Damien, whose name Damien has become synonymous with demons and stuff and evil. And I'm like, I always thought, how does anybody name their kid Damien after The Omen? But it does happen. I went to high school with a buddy named Damien. But as you know, it's basically he is the spawn of Satan. He is the Antichrist. He is the son of the devil, this little boy, Damien. And wackiness ensues. He is definitely not a good little boy. And I always get tripped up that this is a Richard Donner film because it just doesn't really feel like a Richard Donner film to me. But it is maybe not about the devil. It's not higher on the list because maybe it's not about the devil himself per se, and more about the devil's son, the Antichrist. So, but it still involves that. So you got to kind of have it on here, and it is an absolute classic. The Omen comes in at number 14. At number 13 is one that I've talked about on this channel a lot, and one that you don't think of because it's not a straight out horror movie either. But I am talking about the Walter Hill film, the 1986 movie Crossroads, starring Ralph Macchio and Joe Seneca. Jamie Gertz is in this film, and this is about making a deal with the devil. That's exactly what it's about. And in the movie, Eugene Martone is the character that Ralph Macchio plays, and he is obsessed with blues music. He is a Juilliard musical student, very classically trained guitar player, and he's obsessed with blues and Robert Johnson. And he gets obsessed with tracking down anybody connected with Robert Johnson because he thinks there's a lost song by Robert Johnson that he wants to record. And then he realizes all of Robert Johnson's songs, or at least a lot of them, most of his most famous ones, are about the devil and about deals with the devil and going to hell and hellhounds on his trail and basically his life after making a deal with the devil at the crossroads. And he meets Joe Seneca, who plays Blind Dog Willie. He's a blues man, a harmonica player, and he's trying to get back down to Mississippi to the crossroads where both he and Robert Johnson made a deal with the devil in order to undo his deal. And Ralph Macchio breaks him out of his old folks' home, takes him down there, and gets caught up in it and finds out that the devil is most definitely real. And the guitar battle at the end of this to save their souls is absolutely epic and worth the price of admission. Crossroads, coming in here at number 13. And along with that, I'm going to self-promote just a little bit here because that movie very much inspired my film, Dark Roads 79. And my film stars Bill Moseley from Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, Eddie George, the NFL Hall of Famer, who plays Robert Johnson in the film at the beginning of the movie. And what this is about a Southern rock band in 1979. And they were once really famous, and now they are playing little hole-in-the-wall dives for, 20, 30 people. They've lost all their money, and it come to find out the reason is because the lead singer, Bobby Gray, made a deal with the devil 10 years before for fame and fortune, but the time is up on that deal and the devil has come to collect. It is 100% about the devil. The devil is the bad guy in this movie, and it kind of definitely takes cues from this in the old 27, the 27 Club story, things like that. This is was described as Almost Famous meets Friday the 13th by Morbidly Beautiful and Ain't It Cool News, and that is a high compliment there. And I had to kind of talk about this because I actually wrote and directed this film. I'm in this film. I know it's a little self-promotion, but like I was so inspired by a lot of these other films, particularly Crossroads, Friday the 13th, things like that, and Almost Famous. And there's definitely some odes to Almost Famous in here, but it comes down to what would you do? What is your soul worth? And if you're faced with it in that moment, will you make the right choices? And killer soundtrack, a lot of fun. And this is one that I have never put out wide on physical media, still waiting to be released. And it is a heck of a movie, and I owe a lot to being influenced by like Crossroads and things like that. So Dark Road 79, check it out if you can. Coming up at number 12 is another one that I don't have. This is 2023's Late Night with the Devil. Now, I absolutely love this movie. I just ordered the 4K on Second Sight. I'm bummed that I missed the Umbrella set of this, the big Night Owl set. And Jack Delaney is the main character in this movie, and he has a TV show, a late night TV show, The Night Owls, and it's more of this. It's more of what it lends itself to is he has a little girl on the show on this Halloween night where she is actually possessed by a demon. Now, it's not clear if it's the devil or another demon, but as it goes, and I don't want to spoil it completely if you haven't seen it, but just like in Dark Roads, just like in Crossroads, he made a deal with the devil is how it turns out. And he might not have been completely aware about it, but he did. And it comes back to haunt him definitely. You see what it costs him for this fame and fortune. And it is a pretty intense building throughout the whole movie. The climax is maybe not all the way what you want. It left me wanting a little bit more, but I really absolutely dug this movie. I love the atmosphere of it. I'm big in the atmosphere. Late Night with the Devil, while not maybe technically directly the devil, again, he's referenced. He's the source of it. So it comes in here at number 12. Number 11 is another one that I do not have yet. I want the awesome umbrella collector set of this, and I am talking about Ty West's film House of the Devil from 2009. And Jocelyn Donahue in this plays Samantha. This is supposed to take place in 1983. A lot of people have given Ty West, who's just a few years younger than me, a lot of credit for making this movie look and feel so 80s. To me, it looks and feels completely 70s, late 70s, not 80s. The way it's shot, the way the credits are, that feels more like late 70s to me. That's the vibe I get from it. But to be fair, like the 70s kind of rolled into the first couple years of the 80s, the way the 80s kind of rolled into the first 3 or 4 years of the 90s. But I get a 70s vibe from it. And what it is this girl is hired to babysit, basically. She needs money to get the hell out of her nymphomaniac roommate's dorm room in college and get her own place. And there's something going on this whole time. Everybody keeps talking about this eclipse that's coming, this lunar eclipse. And she goes to this out-of-the-way house, and this crazy, weird guy, played excellently by Tom Noonan, who's just kind of creepy and gangly anyway. She finds out she's not really there to babysit a child, but she is there to babysit a woman. And what it really is these people are Satanists. They're devil worshippers. They are basically trying to impregnate her with the Antichrist and do a ritual during this eclipse and, bring forth the devil. So they are devil worshippers. So again, while not technically the devil himself, I believe it qualifies here. There's definitely some plot holes in this, but and it's kind of slow, but it definitely has some good creepy haunted house moments. I don't get the same kind of atmosphere from it that everyone does, but I really did. I like the movie enough that I really want that set, and I think it qualifies on this list. So it comes in here at number 11. All right, cracking our top 10. Coming in at 2005 is Constantine. Constantine 2005. Keanu Reeves stars in this, and he is awesome. The visuals in this are awesome. And he is John Constantine is based on a comic book. I think it's Dark Horse Comics. So it's sort of an offshoot of Marvel. You have to correct me if I'm wrong, but he is an attempted suicide, and he gained the power. He came back, he didn't die, or he died and was brought back to life. And he already had ability to see the other side. And he has a little bit of like clairvoyance, whatever you want to. Now he has more powers, and he can see angels. He can see demons. He has different types of powers. And, but he's dying. And the joke amongst angels and demons, because he fights demons and he's trying to redeem his soul, but he's a suicide. So by his fate, he can't. And the joke is that he's the one soul that the devil himself will come up from hell to collect.
You're the one soul I would come up here to collect myself.
And that actually happens in the movie. And I don't want to spoil everything if you haven't seen it, but the way this is portrays heaven and hell as like basically parallel dimensions that exist, that basically look like different versions of our exact world, but exist parallel to us, I think is definitely onto something and very creative. And I think I don't necessarily disagree with that kind of concept completely. So I thought that was really cool. And while the devil isn't the main focus of this movie. Demons are. A plot to overthrow the devil and God is uncovered, and the devil does come up, and he is played amazingly by Peter Stormare in this movie. He only gets like maybe in the movie like the last 7 to 10 minutes of the movie. He's totally worth it. He plays it amazing, and I think it's got to be on the list. Battle of Heaven and Hell involves the devil. You got to give me Constantine coming in at number 10. At number 9, we are going back to Keanu Reeves with 1997's The Devil's Advocate. Wow. Yeah, this one's definitely about the devil. And as I thought about this one could be higher. You got Al Pacino playing the devil. Of course, that's not his name in the movie. He goes by John Milton, but he's the devil. And we see the demons in people. We see the things that they do, the sins, how they're corruptible, how the devil corrupts them, pulls their strings. And Keanu Reeves plays Kevin Lomax. I think Lomax is his last name. And he is a hotshot defense attorney. And he just so happens also to have been the bastard son of John Milton, a.k.a. El Diablo, the devil. And the devil's basically recruiting him, and he needs him to help bring about the end of the world and to gain control. He needs his son to basically be the Antichrist. And he's having a hard time corrupting him. So he tries to go through his wife. He tries to do everything he can to tempt him, to corrupt him. And while he is very worldly and he wants some things, he's not stupid. And there are amazing showdown scenes. There is amazing monologues and dialogues in this movie. It is 100% about the devil himself, and a very, very dark thriller drama that winks at horror. And Al Pacino gives a hell of a performance. Keanu Reeves does too. You've got Charlize Theron in this movie. I think it's a good movie. People crack on it a lot. I think it's actually like well acted. It comes in here at number 9. At number 8 is one that I don't have. This is the Roman Polanski classic film, 1968. Is it 68? 1968's Rosemary's Baby, starring Mia Farrow. Now, again, this is like if you combine The House of the Devil and The Omen, and a little bit of the movie The Sentinel. So like they move into I think it's like Central Park West, this apartment building, and it's full of Satanists. They're Satan worshipers, and they are there to help facilitate the birth or the conception and the birth of the Antichrist, of the devil's spawn, the devil's son. And they use Rosemary. I mean, the plot of it is right there. It's not what you're expecting. And it's pretty twisted at the end. But while maybe not specifically, again, the devil himself, it involves the devil impregnating a woman to have a son who's the Antichrist. And maybe she's the focus and the child's the focus, but the devil is the background. The Satan worshipers are the background. So it is an absolute classic horror. Rosemary's Baby comes in at number 8. At number 7 is one that's a little higher because it's more directly focused on the devil. And again, we have Gabriel Byrne, although this time he is actually playing the devil against one of my all-time favorites, icon, superstar Arnold Schwarzenegger in 1999's End of Days. Literally, this is Arnold Schwarzenegger versus the devil. End of story. So at the end of the 1,000 years, Satan has loosed from his prison. It's 1999, the whole end of the world stuff because of that sort of idea. And Arnold Schwarzenegger is a guy who, he's kind of like an everyman. He's a police detective. He's lost his faith because his family was killed. And so he's like that anti-hero. He's the guy who maybe he doesn't believe in God anymore, but God believes in him. And that's all that matters. And when it comes down to it and he's up against it, he's going to do the right thing, including lay down his life to save people and this world if he has to in a fight against the devil. I think Gabriel Byrne plays the devil like sexy, evil, sinister. He's really, really good in it. Arnold Schwarzenegger gives a good performance as the anti-hero with the heart of gold that does the right thing, a kind of a different take for him. It's his first role back after his first major heart surgery. I think it's underrated. It's dark. It definitely has horror elements. It's scary. It also has the devil wanting to conceive the Antichrist so that he can help him take over and rule the world. And it is a movie that is pretty scary in a lot of ways. If you think about it pretty deep, it's very haunting. The Wireless magazine said it's more chilling than The Exorcist, more haunting than The Sixth Sense. End of days will scare the hell out of you. I don't know if I'd go scare the hell out of you, but it's definitely haunting, and I think it's a good movie. It comes in at number 7. At number 6 is one I've talked about a lot here on the channel lately, so I'm not going to spend a ton of time on it. You might be a little confused that a movie with this title is on this list, but I'm talking about 2015's The Witch. Yeah, it's on this because while the movie's titled The Witch, it is 100% the devil the whole time pulling the strings. He rules the witches. The witches have to make a deal with him. He's there, Black Phillip, the goat. The devil is there the whole time. He's pulling the strings. He's corrupting these people. He's preying on their vulnerabilities. He's pushing them into things. And at the end, she makes the deal with the devil for some exotic butters and a long life. It's very creepy the way he's whispering to her and stalking back and forth. And you just kind of catch a glimpse of him in a humanoid form as she signs her soul over to him for a life as a witch. So yes, it qualifies on here because the devil is the background focus of this whole movie, more so than the witch, because he controls them. He's over them. So it comes in here at number 6. At number 5 is a very underrated film. It is another Roman Polanski. Considering some of the trouble Polanski's got in, it's interesting how many times he dipped his toe in the devil realm. But I am talking about 1990, I think it's 98's The Ninth Gate, starring Johnny Depp. Frank Langella is also in this movie. This is a super good and creepy, settle in on you and scary if you think about it movie. Johnny Depp plays, I think his name is Dean. I'm trying to remember. Let me see if I wrote it down. Yeah, it's just, Dean. I know his name is Dean Corso. He is a antique books dealer, kind of a scholar, but he's an antique books dealer and authenticator and stuff like that. And he's hired to basically track down these books, and there's 3 of them, and if you put them together, they are the key to open the ninth gate, which is to all of this supposedly enlightenment, but it's dark enlightenment because these books were said to have been written by the devil himself. The devil himself has initialed these books, and you need to put all of the books together in order to get the full story and summon the devil. So Johnny Depp finds himself, he doesn't believe in any of this to start with. He's just looking for valuable books. Then he finds himself at the middle of this group of this cabal worldwide of Satanists who are definitely into this stuff. And maybe he's being having his strings pulled and manipulated by the devil himself in a form he doesn't recognize the whole time. 100% about the devil. Deep, dark, very, very twisted thriller that is very just engrossing and makes you think really deep. The Ninth Gate comes in here at number 5. All right, top 4. You know I have to go here. I'm talking 1973's William Friedkin movie, The Exorcist. Of course, The Exorcist has to be on here. Now, the question becomes, is in the movie, is it the devil or is it supposed to be Pazuzu, the demon that possesses her? But if you go back to, like I taught history and stuff, you go back to ancient Mesopotamia, and before that, you've got like Ahura Mazda and then Pazuzu, and all of these are just other names for the devil. Like for Lucifer, they're the whole time so the devil, listen, people from the beginning of time have known and believed in the devil. So you can take all religion out of it. But this movie is also based on a book that was based on, true accounts, from what I understand, of a real exorcism. Now, in real life, it was a little boy, not a little girl. But Linda Blair plays Reagan in this. This movie is twisted, scary as shit. Nobody had ever seen anything like this before when it came out. And so while you can argue who's doing the possessing here, it's still ultimate evil. In the real life case, it's supposed to have been the devil or a demon. It doesn't matter. That's the focus. That's the point. That's who's overall pulling the strings. The Exorcist, of course, 100%. That is so spooky looking. Has to be on our list. It comes in at number 4. Max von Sydow is awesome in this. This thing is just so well acted. Linda Blair, I mean, it's got to be there, coming in at number 4. All right, number 3 is about the Prince of Darkness himself. So why not call it The Prince of Darkness? This is a John Carpenter film that feels very much like a Cronenberg film at part of the time. And in this movie, the devil is represented by basically this viscous fluid. But we're back to the whole thing of at the end of the 1,000 years, the Satan will be loosed from his prison. Basically, they find out this group of college like physicists and whatever, like college students, find out through their teacher and this priest, played by Donald Pleasance, that the Catholic Church is like run out of their time. I forget what it is exactly, where like they need to renew their control on this prison and keep this locked up, keep the devil himself locked up. The anti-God, as he's referred to in here, also refers to himself as the devil, as Satan in this. So it's right on there. The whole thing is about this and about, these people. This whole thing takes place pretty much in a church. This is a dark, creepy, disturbing film. And again, it brings in the other dimension, that there's like another side to this that's anti-God, which is the devil. This fluid basically possesses and causes murder, mayhem, and kills these people. And this is 100% about the devil. It is a trip of a movie and a good claustrophobic horror film to boot. So Carpenter's Prince of Darkness comes in at number 3. Now, for me, the top 2 stand alone. They stand alone. And coming in at number 2 is 1995's The Prophecy. This movie is crazy. And stars Christopher Walken, and while he is amazing and memorable to me in this movie, what I remember the most every time I think of this movie is Viggo Mortensen playing Lucifer. And he basically slithers his words out. I mean, he is so snake-like, but also so alluring. Oh, man. So, Christopher Walken plays Gabriel in this, and there's basically a war in heaven, and, Satan has hell now because, he was jealous of man and all that kind of stuff. But that didn't stop with him and the Archangel Gabriel, and there's a war going in heaven. And what basically happens is Gabriel wants to collect up souls. He thinks he wants to create another heaven. What it really is, according to Lucifer, is going to be a second hell, and Lucifer ain't having that. He ain't having that. So He actually teams up with like Elias Costas, who is a detective who had lost his faith, and I can't think of the actress's name. And he's going to help them stop Gabriel, not because he's good. And he makes that clear. Not because he's good in any way, but he doesn't want the competition of a second hell, is basically, if you want to boil it down. He doesn't want the competition of a second hell. This movie, I haven't watched it in a while. I got this from Vinegar Syndrome on the last sale. I can't wait to watch it again. I confess I have not seen I've seen part 2. I've not seen part 3. They're all in this awesome set here. But the first one is amazing. But Viggo Mortensen as the devil, that sticks in my mind so much that this movie is so synonymous with the devil. It has to come in here at number 2 for me, because the other one, number 1, is one of my favorite movies that Stephen King has ever written, or based on a book that he has written. And it's all about the devil. And in this time, instead of Max von Sydow playing a priest getting rid of the devil, he plays the devil himself in 1993's Needful Things. I've talked about this movie before. It has amazing atmosphere in it, small town atmosphere, where the whole town is corrupt. The whole town is in on something mysterious and scary and otherworldly is happening to this whole town. It is all there. And Max von Sydow plays Leland Gaunt is the name. And he comes to this town, this small town, and he opens a antique shop where just coincidentally he has everyone's needful thing, the thing they need, the thing they want, the thing they covet the most. And he knows everyone's deepest, darkest secrets, fears, little picadillos. He knows everything because he's the damn devil. And he knows exactly how to twist it up, wind them up. But instead of money, he gets them, because again, just like in Ghost Ship, you have free will. So the devil can only do things to push you towards something. He can manipulate you, pull your strings, but in the end, you have the free will to make the choice. So he has these people make the choice. They don't have to have their needful thing, but if they want their needful thing, he doesn't want their money. He wants them to do something evil. He wants them to sin. That way, and he keeps a little book with their names, and the minute he gets them to do it, he checks it off. He has them marked. And it's always the innocent that recognize it first. In this town, it's a little boy. He realizes what he has done, and he realizes who Leland Gaunt is to start with. And eventually, Ed Harris, who plays the sheriff, he realizes it too, and it becomes the good versus evil fight. But man, it's just done so well. And in what I hesitate to say it this way, but in a realistic way. And Max von Sydow, I've said this before, he gives the most haunting line in a cheerful, almost deadpan sort of way in the movie when he's talking about Jesus. And he's like, oh, the young carpenter from Nazareth. I knew him well. He had so much potential. Died horribly. Like, it's just so spooky. I've always thought about that line. And the way he delivers it, it's just so matter of fact and almost gleeful and cheerful. He plays the devil in the most realistic way I think that it could ever be played. The way people are corrupted and their souls are damned, and he collects their souls basically, is in the most realistic way, the most human way ever. So Needful Things comes in at number 1 on my list here on Monster Monday of films about the devil himself. Might as well start monsters with the worst monster of them all out there, the devil himself, Old Scratch, El Diablo, Lucifer, whatever you want to call him. He is the king of Sting, and there's surprisingly not a ton of movies about him, but these are my top 15. Let me know what you think. Is there some that I missed down here? What do you think of the list? Give me some of your favorites. I got more Monster Mondays coming. and tons of content this Halloween and spooky season, almost every day that I can get it out to you guys. If that is something that you enjoy, we do all kinds of things here, 4K reviews, physical media news, all this stuff. We're just focused on spooky season right now. But if that's something that you enjoy, please like and subscribe. It really does help out the channel. If you want to help support the channel, you can join below here on YouTube or at my Patreon. The links are in my descriptions. If you are interested in what I am looking for, Chase's targets, the things I'm out there looking to buy, I keep a running list of my targets down below as well. And if you subscribe or join the channel, you get access to all kinds of other special stuff, behind the scenes content, my filmmaking, more stuff from like Dark Roads that we talked about early, all kinds of things. And of course, your name in lights. But you don't have to do any of that to hang around here and help out the channel. Just like, subscribe, ring that bell, spread the pop culture word. And until next time, this is Chase with AV Pop Culture saying, be kind, rewind like always. And I'll see you real soon. Bye-bye.
I know.